Mahdi Guided One. The Mahdi, literally Guided One, is an eschatological redeemer of Islam who will appear and will rule for 5, 7, 9, or 19 years, according to differing interpretations, before the Day of Judgment. Yawm al-qiyamah, literally, the Day of Resurrection. Opening square bracket. 3. And will rid the world of evil. There is no reference to the Mahdi in the Quran, only in the hadith. The reports and traditions of Muhammad's teachings collected after his death. In most traditions, Mahdi will arrive with Jesus, Isa, to defeat Masih ad-Dajjal, literally, the false Messiah or Antichrist. Although the concept of a Mahdi is not an essential doctrine in Sunni Islam, he is popular among both Sunni and Shia Muslims. Both agree that he will rule over the Muslims and establish justice. However, they differ extensively on his attributes and status. Throughout history, various individuals have claimed to be the Mahdi. These have included Muhammad Jaunpuri, founder of the Mahdaviya sect, the Bab, Sayyid Ali Muhammad, founder of Babism, Muhammad Ahmad, who established the Mahdi state in Sudan in the late 19th century, Mirza Ghulam Ahmad, founder of the Ahmadiyya sect, and Riaz Ahmad Gohar Shahi. Historical development. The term Mahdi does not occur in the Quran, but it is derived from the Arabic root hdy, commonly used to mean divine guidance. The term al-Mahdi was employed from the beginning of Islam, but only as an honorific epithet and without any messianic significance. Opening square bracket. 5. As an honorific, it has been used in some instances to describe Muhammad by Hassan ibn Thabit, as well as Abraham al-Hussein and various Umayyad rulers. Hadat Mahdiyan. Opening square bracket. 5. During the Second Civil War, 680 to 692, after the death of Muawiyah, the term acquired a new meaning of a ruler who would restore Islam to its perfect form and restore justice after oppression. Opening square bracket. 5. In Kufa during the rebellion in 680s, al-Mukhtar proclaimed Muhammad al-Hanafiya as the Mahdi in this heightened sense. Among the Umayyads, Sulayman encouraged the belief that he was the Mahdi, and other Umayyad rulers, like Umar II, have been addressed as such in the panegyrics of Jarrah and al-Farazdak. Opening square bracket. 5. Early discussions about the identity of al-Mahdi by religious scholars can be traced back to the time after the Second Fitna. These discussions developed in different directions and were influenced by traditions, hadiths, attributed to Muhammad in Umayyad times. Scholars and traditionalists not only differed on which caliph or rebel leader should be designated as Mahdi, but also in whether the Mahdi is a messianic figure and if signs and predictions of his time have been satisfied. Opening square bracket. 5. By the time of the Abbasid revolution in the year 750, Mahdi was already a known concept. Evidence shows that the first Abbasid caliph as-Safar assumed the title of the Mahdi for himself. Opening square bracket. 5. In Shia Islam, it seems likely that the attribution of messianic qualities to the Mahdi originated from two of the groups supporting al-Hanafiya: Southern Arabian settlers and local recent converts in Iraq. They became known as Qaysanites and introduced what later became two key aspects of the Shia's concept of the Mahdi. The first was the notion of return of the dead, particularly of the Imams. The second was that after al-Hanafiya's death they believed he was, in fact, in hiding in the Razwa mountains near Medina. This later developed into the doctrine known as the occultation. Opening square bracket. 8. The Mahdi appeared in early Shiite narratives, spread widely among Shiite groups and became dissociated from its historical figure, Muhammad al-Hanafiya. During the 10th century, based on these earlier beliefs, the doctrine of Mahdism was extensively expanded by al-Kulaini, Ibrahim al-Kami and Ibn Babawayh. Opening square bracket. 9. In particular, in the early 10th century, the doctrine of the occultation, which declares that the 12th Imam did not die but was concealed by God from the eyes of men, was expounded. The Mahdi became synonymous with the hidden Imam, who was thought to be in occultation awaiting the time that God has ordered for his return. This return is envisaged as occurring shortly before the final day of judgment. Opening square bracket. 4. In fact, the concept of the hidden Imam was attributed to several Imams in turn. Opening square bracket. 10. Some historians suggest that the term itself was probably introduced into Islam by southern Arabian tribes who had settled in Syria in the mid-7th century. They believed that the Mahdi would lead them back to the homeland and re-establish Sunni Islam. Since Sunnism has no established doctrine of Mahdi, compositions of Mahdi varies among Sunni scholars. While some scholars like Ibn Khaldun even disputed the authenticity of references concerning the Mahdi in hadith literature. Others like Ibn Kathir elaborated a whole apocalyptic scenario which included prophecies about Mahdi, Jesus and Dajjal during the end time. Some Sunni beliefs deny the Mahdi as a separate figure. Accordingly, Jesus will fulfill this role and judge over mankind, thus Mahdi is considered as a title for Jesus when he returns. However, the more common opinion among Sunni Muslims is that the Mahdi is an expected ruler sent by God before the end time to re-establish righteousness, coincides with the second coming of Jesus Christ. Isa. But, unlike most Shia traditions, Sunni Islam often do not believe the Mahdi has already been born. But there is a group of Sunni famous scholars who mention that Mahdi has already been born, such as al-Dahabi, Ibn Hajar, Abu al-Falah Hanbali, al-Kundazi, and so on. Meanwhile, Sheikh Najm al-Din al-Askari in his book named 40 of Sunni scholars who mentioned that Mahdi has already been born. Sunnis in general reject the 12 Shiite principle of the Mahdi's occultation. Sunnis do, however, rely on traditionally canonical collections of narrations for derivations of the Mahdi's attributes and lineage. According to Sunan Abi Dawood, one of the 6 canonical books of hadith in Sunni Islam, narrated by Salama, the Prophet said, "The Mahdi will be of my family, of the descendants of Fatima." Single quote. In heavy contrast with Shia Islam, Sunnis have a much more human view of the Mahdi, who they believe will be nothing less than the most rightly guided Muslim of his time. He will be rectified in a single night, which is taken to mean that the provisions for his leadership and rule will be made in a single night. According to Sunan ibn Majah, one of the 6 canonical collections of hadith, narrated by Ali, Mahdi is one of us, the people of the household. Allah will rectify him in a single night. Whereas much of the Shiite belief ascribes divine faculties. In some circles of Shiite Islam it is even believed that the Mahdi can mentally control the wind and vegetation by God's permission. And transcendent status to the Mahdi, Sunnis believe he will be altogether human but will have sagacity, especially as it pertains to leading other people and ruling a nation. Sunnis believe he will rise and be recognized by his continued philanthropy, charity, piety, facial features, name, and sense of justice, not through direct divine intervention. It is not unreasonable to suspect, based on these narrations, that the Mahdi may not be known to the people immediately, even after being born and living for quite some time without the title of Mahdi, hence being rectified by God. According to Sunan Abi Dawood, the Prophet said, "The Mahdi will be of my stock, and will have a broad forehead and a prominent nose. He will fill the earth with equity and justice as it was filled with oppression and tyranny, and he will rule for 7 years." Single quote. The Himyarite Kingdom. They also believe that he would eventually conquer Constantinople. It has also been suggested that the concept of the Mahdi may have been derived from Messianic Judeo-Christian beliefs. Accordingly, traditions were introduced to support certain political interests, especially anti-Abbasid sentiments. These traditions about the Mahdi appeared only at later times in hadith collections such as Jami' at-Tirmidhi and Sunan Abi Dawud, but are absent from the early works of Bukhari and Muslim. References interpreted in hadith. The Mahdi is frequently mentioned in Sunni hadith as establishing the caliphate. Among Sunnis, some believe the Mahdi will be an ordinary man. The following Sunni hadith make references to the Mahdi. Muhammad is quoted as saying about the Mahdi, "His name will be my name, and his father's name my father's name." Even if the entire duration of the world's existence has already been exhausted and only one day is left before doomsday, Allah will expand that day to such length of time as to accommodate the kingdom of a person from my Ahlul Bayt who will be called by my name. He will fill out the earth with peace and justice as it will have been full of injustice and tyranny. By then. Salama, a wife of Muhammad, is quoted as saying that the Mahdi's aim is to establish a moral system from which all superstitious faiths have been eliminated. In the same way that students enter Islam, so unbelievers will come to believe. When the Mahdi appears, Allah will cause such power of vision and hearing to be manifested in believers that the Mahdi will call to the whole world from where he is, with no postman involved, and they will hear and even see him. Abu Sa'id al-Khudri is quoted as saying, "The Messenger of Allah said, he is one of yous." The Messenger of Allah said, "The Mahdi is of my lineage. He will fill the earth with fairness and justice as it was filled with oppression and injustice, and he will rule for 7 years." The Messenger of Allah said, "At the end of the time of my ummah, the Mahdi will appear. Allah will grant him rain, the earth will bring forth its fruits, he will give a lot of money, cattle will increase and the ummah will become great. He will rule for 7 or 8 years. At-Tirmidhi reported that Muhammad said, "The Mahdi is from my ummah. He will be born and live to rule 5 or 7 or 9 years. Opening parenthesis. If one goes to him and says, 'Give me a charity,' he will fill one's garment with what one needs." At-Tirmidhi reported that Muhammad said, "The face of the Mahdi shall shine upon the surface of the moon." At-Tarabani reported that his forehead will be broad and his nose will be high, his face will shine like a star and he will have a black spot on his left cheek. Amr bin Shu'ayb reported from his grandfather that the Messenger of Allah said, "In Dhu al-Qidah, Islamic month, there will be fight among the tribes, Muslim pilgrims will be looted and there will be a battle in Mina in which many people will be slain and blood will flow until it runs over the Jamarat Lake Uba, one of the 3 stone pillars at Mina. The man they seek will flee and will be found between the Rukn, a corner of the Kaaba containing the black stone, and the Maqam of Prophet Abraham, near Kaaba. He will be forced to accept people's prayer, being chosen as a leader, caliph. The number of those offering bay'ah will be the same as the number of the people of Badr, Muslim fighters who participated in the Battle of Badr at time of Prophet Muhammad. Then, the dweller of heaven and the dweller of the earth will be pleased with him." Imam Mahdi in the Quran. According to some interpretations of the Quran, throughout the history of human life, the earth has never been without divine leaders and Allah has selected an appropriate man for every nation. There are 2 types of Quranic verses which one can find out the existence of Imam Mahdi and advent of him. 1. Some verses show the necessity of the existence of Imam, such as, "You are only a warner, and there is a guide for every people." 13:7. Imam Sadiq has said in this regard, "There is a leader from our family at any time and guides people to the straight path." 2. Some verses give good news that the government of believers will be created, such as this verse. Certainly we read in the Psalms after the Torah, "Indeed, my righteous servants shall inherit the earth." Single quote. Sunni and Sufi authors sharing 12-verse view on Mahdi. In 648 1250-1, the Syrian Shafi'i author Muhammad b. Yusuf al-Ganji al-Qarashi read K. al-Bayan fi Akbar Sahib al-Zaman in proving the Mahdi-ship of the 12th Imam using Sunni traditions. In 651 1252, Kamal al-Din Muhammad b. Talha al-Adawi al-Nizabini, a Shafi'i scholar, composed his Matalab al-Su'al fi Manaqib al-Rasul answering Sunni objections to the belief that the 12th Imam was the Mahdi. The Sibit ibn al-Jawzi wrote Tadkirat Kawais al-Ummah by Dhikr Qasa is al-Aima, collecting hadiths from Sunni sources about the virtues of Ali and his descendants, and at the end affirmed that the 12th Imam was the expected Qa'im and Mahdi. Among Sufi circles, Abu Bakr al-Bayhaqi, d. 458 1066, had noted that some Sufi Gnostics, Jama min Ahl al-Gash, agreed with the Imami doctrine about the identity of the Mahdi and his ghaib. Occultation. The Persian Sufi Sadr al-Din Ibrahim al-Hamuyi, late 7th, 13th century, supported Imami doctrine on the Mahdi in his Farid al-Simtain. The Egyptian Sufi al-Sharani, while generally showing no sympathy for Shi'ism, affirmed in his al-Yawaqit wa al-Dajjal, written in 958 1551, that the Mahdi was a son of Imam al-Hasan al-Askari, born in the year 255 869, and would remain alive until his meeting with